Look everyone, it's Paranova, and I'll let you in on a little secret. The name Paranova comes from the words parabola, as in the weird curvy shape you learn about in Algebra 2, and supernova, as in outer space. As a kid, I always had a fascination with the interstellar, one that still haunts me to this very day. And I even have this model of the solar system in my living space, which shows that Pluto was, and always is, and forevermore will be a planet. That being said, why did I just now play a Metroid game? I'll tell you why. Being a kid in the 2000s, what were our options for Metroid games? I grew up on a DSi, and our options were as follows: Metroid Prime Hunters and Metroid Prime Pinball. On the Wii, we had Metroid Prime 3, Metroid Prime Trilogy, and Metroid Other M. While these were all under the Metroid umbrella, traditional 2D Metroids just weren't on the market. Plus, I was 5. I literally had no idea who Metroid was, why he was a pinball, and why he looked like Halo. And even if I did, I wouldn't care. I was way too busy freaking out over the fact that Bowser Jr. over here thinks Peach is his mom. But then came along Super Smash Bros. Brawl. This game is the most important game I ever played, because it opened up a whole new world of Nintendo characters to fall in love with. I found out who Zelda from Super Smash Flash was, and learned the name of the space guy from the game at my local McDonald's, and most importantly for this video, I found out who Samus was. I loved playing as both Samus and Zero Suit Samus, and seeing her break out of the secret lab with Pikachu in the subspace emissary, oh my goodness, this is epic. But, like I said, what exactly was there to play in terms of 2D Metroid? A few years later, there was Federation Force. Wait. There we go. But it wasn't anything Metroid fans wanted, and as someone who had never played a Metroid game, I had no interest in giving it a shot. But then, fast forward to June 2021 and the Metroid Dread reveal trailer. Apparently, this game had been in the works for 15 years, and while a remake of Metroid 2, Return of Samus, Metroid Samus Returns, had laid the foundation for Dread 4 years prior, it was Metroid Dread that was set to be the first real attempt at an original 2D Metroid title. Naturally, with this game's trailer came a lot of hype, and I was sitting there thinking, this game does look hype. But I wanted to wait and see what people said about the game. After all, I'd never played a Metroid game. But I reached my breaking point when Kotaku published an article encouraging me to pirate the game? Isn't that a crime? So I went to Walmart and bought the game, primarily to stick it to Kotaku. But I also wanted to support Nintendo and Mercury Steam after they got lots of shade from other gaming journalist publications around the release of the game. If you've never played a Metroid game, you should know that it and another series, Castlevania, inspired its own genre, creatively named the Metroidvania. Metroidvania games are all about exploration. Throughout your journey, you get items to help you unlock new areas you couldn't access before, and you are encouraged to backtrack and use your newfound abilities to further explore what you couldn't before. This exploration is the backbone of any Metroidvania game, and Metroid Dread does a tremendous job of carrying the torch previous Metroidvania experiences originally lit. There are 9 sub-areas to traverse through on planet ZDR. Each has its own memorable, unique biome. We have Jolly Roger Bay, Lethal Lava Land, and Hazy Maze Cave, to name a few. Sorry, wrong game. Names like Ferenia and Gavarin don't exactly stick, but despite that, each of these places are incredibly gorgeous, which makes the exploration that much more immersive. What makes them even more immersive though is the music, with Cataris and Elon specifically being standouts. I'm a firm believer in the fact that audio defines an experience, be it a game or movie, and Metroid Dread has a killer soundtrack that further immerses you in Samus's predicament. She's been ambushed on planet ZDR by a crazy birdman, and with occasional help from her AI companion Adam, she fights to get to the surface of the planet and back to her spaceship. And each of these locations you explore is different enough to keep you wanting to reach new areas constantly. But getting back to your spaceship isn't all fun and games, even though it is. Throughout your journey, you'll encounter various enemies and bosses that try and stop you from reaching the surface. Many have said that the bosses are the best in the series, and while I haven't touched any other Metroid game up until this point, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that this is probably true. The amount of absolute triumph I felt after kicking these bosses to the curb was incredible. These bosses are challenging enough to keep you going and going while not alienating you away, and this was so important to me as a new Metroid player. I was never at a point that I wanted to rage quit or give up. Instead, I knew that I had the skills and abilities to beat these bosses, and that it was all about figuring out a boss's weakness and exploiting the heck out of it. Seriously, these mini cinematic moments were among my favorite moments in the whole game. I felt like the intergalactic bounty hunter I was meant to be. The puzzles you encounter throughout your expedition are also well put together. Some were easy as pie, but there were plenty that had me stumped for a good while. But that didn't stop me from figuring them out, and when I did, it was amazing. But the greatest moments during the game are easily the Emmy sequences. Except for the blue one, that one sucks. Metroid Dread is rightfully named after these moments where you are forced to use stealth to avoid being caught by an Emmy. These moments emanate dread in a way we haven't felt since Guardians in Breath of the Wild. But this title does one better. If you're caught, while you have a small chance of getting away, it usually results in, well... crikey! These Emmys are bent on taking out Samus for some unexplained reason, making avoiding them using your abilities crucial to your survival. Emmy areas are self-contained, however, which allows for a nice balance of both classic Metroidvania gameplay and new dreadful Emmy gameplay. These Emmys were sent to Planet ZDR by the Galactic Federation after they received a leaked video exposing the truth. The dangerous world-ending X-Parasite wasn't extinct. No one's ever really gone. But when these Emmys went missing, Samus was sent to investigate, which is why she's here on ZDR. But we later find out that these Emmys didn't just go haywire, they were reprogrammed by the evil Birdman! His name is Ravenbeak, and not only is it revealed that he reprogrammed the Emmys to hunt down Samus, it's revealed that he wants Samus for her Metroid DNA, which allows him to create an army of Sami that will do his evil bidding! Mwahahahaha. And also, he sent the leaked video of the X-Parasites to the Galactic Federation. Mwahahahaha. And also, he's been pretending to be Adam all along! Mwahahaha! And also, the worst crime of all, he's her dad. Don't worry, he's not evil enough to play Metroid Prime Pinball. Yeah, the story can be a bit weird if this is your first foray into the Metroid universe. Regardless, it's easy to understand if you watch the prologue at the beginning, and it ties up many loose ends for those who have been with the series for years. And honestly, as someone who hasn't been with the series for years, I love it. I love this game, and I see why Metroid fans are so devoted to the series. I imagine this is many people's first Metroidvania. It was certainly mine. And this game was an incredible first experience into the genre. This game made me a fan. After I 100%ed my save file, I went on my Wii U's Virtual Console and downloaded various Metroid games, and while I haven't played them yet, being relatively busy doing life, and grinding for Miles Morales Spider-Man on Fortnite, they are experiences I'm looking forward to playing through, and you can bet that Metroid Prime 4 is now one of my most anticipated upcoming Switch releases. And that's how I feel about Metroid Dread. Now, when it comes to Metroid Prime Pinball, I don't feel anything anymore.